Hey, what is up? It is Wednesday, which means it is the Death Rattle Podcast. How are you guys doing out there? As you can see, it's just me by myself. DJ is actually in France right now at Cannes Film Festival. So he sent me a little video that I will try to play here before too long. I'm not exactly sure how to play it, but I'll try to play it. But how are you guys doing? We have Matt Hicks, who is the first in the chat. Christopher Leggett, right? Or Christophe Leggett. We have Rhonda, Citizen Sleeve, Chad Dodson, Joseph McMillan, Jimbo Akimbo, B Movie Theater, Seja. I never say that right. I am sorry. I forget how it's supposed to be. Seiya. Nightingale, where did it go? Nightingale Widow, uh, KK, uh, James, Joe Begret. Yeah, all you usual suspects in the chat. So I figure mostly do like a Q&A type of deal because I don't know. It's hard just to ramble about shit on my own. That's just not my style. Unless I, get all these notes and everything all figured out, and I'm just not going to do that. So I figured mostly we'll just kind of hang out, do a Q&A. You guys ask questions. I'll give you the best answers, but mostly just try to get a conversation going. Besides that, like I said, I want to try to play that little video from DJ if I can figure out how to do it. Then beyond that, the video I'm working on right now that hopefully I will have out on Friday is the most anticipated horror movies coming this summer. And so I figure we can kind of talk about that. I won't give you guys my list because that would spoil it for you, but we can still chat about the ones that we're looking forward to the most this summer. I came up with 14, I think, or 15, 14 or 15. There's a couple that are not exactly horror, but they're kind of close. But it should be a fairly lengthy video. But it's going to be a damn good summer. I went from the end of May. I didn't count this week, so I would have been over 15 if I had counted this week because we have 2 horror movies coming out this week. We have Final Destination Bloodlines, and then I forget the name of the other one. It's the one that's got The Weeknd in it, and what's her name from Wednesday, and Beetlejuice. Anyway, I didn't count this week, but like the week after that is where I kicked off. So next week is where the list would begin that I'm working on. And I went into mid-September because I went with what technically the first day of fall is basically how I figured it out. So halfway through September. Yeah, I mean, this is the podcast. This is the Death Rattle Podcast. It's just me by myself. Like I said, because DJ is in France right now at Cannes working on trying to get the Hellgate some distribution. Which, let me see if I could try to figure out how to play this. Because he sent it through Messenger. Hopefully you guys can still see me. All right, trying to airdrop it from my phone to the computer. So hopefully you guys can still see me. Can you guys still see me okay? I talked about Until Dawn in last Friday's video of movies that I highly recommend. Even though some of them are highly recommended on different levels for different audiences. So, like, I highly recommend Until Dawn, but only if you go in with the right expectations and wanting to just kind of go like into it like you would a haunted house. It's very fun in that way, I think. All right, there we go. All right, give me a second. I'm going to try to see if I can figure out how to play this. Share screen. Nope. Nope. I don't know why it's not letting me. That's annoying. Oh, I think I know how I need to do it. Media. Let's see here. Video clip. I should have figured this out beforehand because now you guys are just sitting here bored while I'm trying to figure this out. But I don't know why it's not. Oh, this is annoying. I'm just never good at using this computer. Like the layout of a Mac is just strange to me. Bonjour from Cannes, everybody. Good to see you. Bonjour. All right. Let's see if it's going to let me share it. Do any of you guys know how I would play this? All right, I'm going to give up. Because you guys are just sitting here board. So yeah, so if you guys want to start shooting some questions, some things that we could talk about, that would be awesome. We can kind of get a little chat going. Here, you know what? This is kind of ghetto, but I'm just going to play it like this.
From Cannes, everybody. Good to see you. I hope everyone's having a good time. Bonjour from Cannes, everybody. Good to see you. I hope everyone's having a good time. I am in my hotel room here in Cannes, France, and the last couple of days have been very busy. I met a lot of really cool people, got to see some cool panels, and I have been enjoying my time in France. Unfortunately, I do so much throughout the day that I have not been able to experience any Cannes nightlife, so I haven't been able to, or I guess I should say,
can you just hear
I'm
it?
unable to report on that. I am hoping I can do some of that on Friday or Saturday, but probably not too much on Saturday because I fly back out on Sunday. But everything's going really well. It's super awesome to be here and to see Cannes and the Marché du Film and just all of the historical stuff, I guess. Like, it's really cool to see the red carpet and everything else. I haven't been able to attend any red carpet events because I don't have a tuxedo, and it is definitely black tie required to be able to attend any of that stuff. And I don't really care about celebrities, so I haven't made my way to seeing any celebrities. However, I have met some very cool people in the industry here that have traveled abroad just like me to participate in the European film market, and I made a lot of really cool connections, and the future looks pretty bright for the Hell Game. So miss you guys. Hoping to be back next week, but I'm going to be rocking and rolling this whole time. So you can follow me at Bloodscribe Creations on Instagram. That's where I've been posting updates, but you can find me there, and you'll be able to see all this stuff that we've been doing. So anyway, good to see you guys. Kanan, hope you're doing well all by yourself. I know you're okay carrying the show, but anyway, that's it, and I will see you guys next week. So au revoir.
So sorry, that was kind of ghetto. I know how to load it on here. I don't know why it won't load. Like, it just keeps saying sending, or loading, or nothing at all. Like, I don't know what the deal is. So whatever. You guys got the gist. So yeah, let's see. So I'm gonna start looking for questions. And like always, I'm a greedy motherfucker. So any super chats always take priority. But that's kind of not true because I just scrolled down. And I'm the furthest thing from greedy, to be honest. But you guys that know me know that's, Anyway, so looking for questions. So start off your comment with the word question, and I will try to get to as many as I can. And also start leaving what movies this summer you're looking forward to the most. They don't have to just be horror because this is the podcast and we talk about just kind of whatever, but whatever movies you're excited for. Because like the new trailer for Superman came out today, which I think it looks pretty damn good. Like the little teaser trailer looked decent. But then they released that like 5 minutes of the movie and that didn't look good. So I was really like, I don't know, but now seeing the trailer, looks pretty dope. And then like Smurfs movie, I think dropped a trailer today, and I don't know what else, but yeah. And then they announced officially the name and logo for the new Godzilla Kong. But yeah, so we'll start us off with Chad Dotson. His question is, your thoughts on that Peter Pan Neverland Nightmare? I went and saw it. I didn't review it or talk about it in any video because I just was not a fan of it. It's the same problems I have with all the movies those guys make. Like, they just get more and more well produced, but the writing, the tone, I have an issue with. Like that movie was like depressingly sad and dark and super super fucked up. No humor in it, just like Winnie the Pooh, and I don't get it. I don't get why you would do something that is like basically a spoof on a public domain kids character like that, and then just make a depressing, dark, and then kind of boring movie, because the humor is what makes those interesting. Like I talked about Steamboat Willie, or Steamboat. Yeah, I think it was just called Steamboat. And that was made by some of the people that produced the Terrifier movies, and they get it. It's like that was a super low budget movie, not even as well produced as like the Winnie the Pooh franchise movies. Like this was very low budget, and yet didn't have as good of acting and whatever, but it was fun. It was funny. It was super gory and campy and silly. And they had David Howard Thornton playing Mickey in it, and he just did a great job of being this creepy little fucking rat running around killing people. And it was just stupid, but it was fun. And Peter Pan Neverland or whatever was just, it was just depressing. Yeah. Wolfbane asked, this is an early question. I see The Ugly Stepsister is available on Shudder. Is it pretty good? I'm scared of the subtitles. I love Ugly Stepsisters. I did an individual review of it if you want to hear more thoughts about it. But I love that movie. And right now, it would be probably my number 2 best movie this year. Right there with Sinners and The Rule of Jenny Penn. Like those 3 are kind of clearly my favorites. There's a couple other ones that are up there, but like one of them in particular is The Assessment isn't exactly horror. So I don't know if it would make my top 10 just because it isn't exactly horror. And then Locked would be up there as well. So, but yeah, The Ugly Stepsister is phenomenal. And like, I recommend just going into it blind. Like just, if you haven't seen the trailer, that's fine. Don't watch anything. Just go in blind. Like that's how I went in. I knew nothing about it other than the name. And I love it. It's funny. It's super gross. There's crazy body horror. It's weird. You got to be a little patient in the first like 10, 15 minutes. And then the story, you'll just be pulled in and the subtitles won't bother you at all. Like I completely forgot I was reading subtitles by like probably 20 minutes in. She can yell at me. I got a face like a foot. I don't know what you're talking about. That is still funny. Oh, you guys are being so supportive. You got this. Yeah, Citizen Sleeve. I'm not using OBS. Like I know how to load video easy on here because I'm using StreamYard and it makes it super easy. But for some reason, something about the way I was saving the file wasn't working right. And I could easily figure it out, I'm sure. But I'm getting in like that panic mode of trying to figure it out, clicking on stuff and feeling, bad because you guys are watching me just looking like an idiot. So, but whatever. You guys could hear it and see it just fine. It just doesn't look professional, but whatever. Yeah, if you go on Facebook or Instagram, DJ's been posting some pictures from there. I think it was Instagram where I saw him today. Him in France, and it's pretty dope. KK says, forgot to tell you, Kanan, when we watched Strange Darling, we had a party pizza and Oregon lagers. After the movie, washed cans. What? And found out they made in Hood River, same place as the movie. It was weird. Oh, that's awesome. That's crazy. That's a cool coincidence. See, Joseph McQuillan asked, try to put the word question. Luckily, I saw yours, but always put question in your comment. It's much easier for me to find them. This one is, what is your favorite horror movie of all time? Phantasm. It's not what I think is the best horror movie of all time. That would probably be The Thing or Alien. But yeah, Phantasm is not, it's not even close. Like I just love that movie so much. I have a bunch of little Phantasm stuff right there on the set. Like I love that movie. I've watched it probably 1,000 times. I don't even know. I just adore it. Oh, hey, Steve, it's Spock. Welcome, Steve and Spock. Welcome to the crew. Just joined as a member. Oh, where was I? Yeah, I know. As far as like when I've talked to him, he's just in lots of meetings. He's not doing a lot of fun stuff. He's done a little sightseeing, but mostly it just sounds like he's just in a lot of business meetings. Movie recommendation: The Fair on Prime. Really cool Twilight Zone vibes and visuals were awesome. Interesting. Is that American? It's like I don't even remember hearing about that movie. Yes, Wolfpain. There's always more than one way to skin a cat, and I'm generally the guy that always thinks outside the box. What are some of your favorite pieces of physical media? It's got to be my VHS collection. Like I wish I had more, but I just don't have room for. And beyond that, they're expensive, and I like to find them in the wild. But like this copy right here of Dark City is one of my favorite pieces of physical media. It's like in perfect condition, and I found it out in the wild. And it's a movie that a lot of people haven't even heard of. Also, my copy of Halloween 3 that's in pristine condition as well. I don't know. There's something super cool about finding them when you're out and about and just being like, yeah, nobody even knows what this movie is. Nice. Christoph said he rewatched The Clinton Hour. That's such a good movie. The ending of that movie goes so hard. And it's interesting, like I said in my recent video, is that it reminds me of now I just lost my train of thought. What was the movie I was trying to think of? Kung Fury 2? I don't even know what that is. Kung Fury 2. Interesting. Closer. Man, what do you guys talking about movies I don't even know of? Closer? What is that? Or Closer? Hold on, that does sound familiar. Closer sounds familiar. Yeah, drugged up, addicted. It wasn't even just the drug element. It's just everything about it. Like the stuff with the kids. It was just creepy and uncomfortable. And I don't know, man. I just did not at all like Peter Pan. Like I left the theater feeling dirty and depressed that somebody wasted those resources on that movie. Yeah, I'm super excited for Final Destination. I'm going to see it tomorrow night with one of my best friends, Josh, the guy that does the music in the beginning of all my videos. Me and him are going to go see it at like pretty late at night. So I'm excited. Almost like a midnight showing, like old school when I was a teenager. K-Haas says, question. I just read that Damien Leone would be interested in making Friday the 13th movie. Thoughts? We actually talked a lot about this, me and TJ. We argued about it for a while. I think he would do just fine. He's not necessarily who I would pick as the guy to make the next one, but I think he would do great. You know, the only thing with him is there's a lot of humor in the Terrifier movies. And I think that's when he's at his best, is when there's a thin line between his gore and mean, uncomfortable stuff and the humor of it. I'm not exactly sure if that's what everybody wants in a Friday the 13th movie. But I do think he's a competent director, and I know the kills would be special. So I don't know. I'm just looking forward to the Friday the 13th series and hoping that we go from there. You know, maybe A24 will get the rights to the movie. It's all up in the air as far as a movie rights. So who knows what will happen with that. Matt Hicks' question: should I revisit the Final Destination movies before I watch the new one? Only remember the one and two. I don't think you need to. From everything I know, this movie is gonna explain enough that you will be able to follow along. So I don't think you'll need to. But it's one of those, like, if you have time and want to, hell yeah. Like, I enjoy all the Final Destination movies. To me, the first three are the best, but I don't know. I just think they're fun, like the premise alone. But everybody that I know that has seen it, this new one, is saying it's the best since like the first movie. Like, it's original and actually does some unique stuff. So B Movie Theater says, question: what are some of your favorite pieces of physical media? Am I out of order? Citizen Sleeve, which film was your entry to horror as a kid? Mine was probably Watership Down, not horror as such, but as a young kid. That would be like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, like the Kid Catchers, or some of the Disney movies, things like that. But as far as like the first real horror movie that I remember, besides Jurassic Park, like Jurassic Park was the first scary type of movie that I saw in a theater. But the one that I always talk about as being like my first real horror movie that got me hooked and got me, like, really introduced me to horror movies was Pet Sematary, the first one. It was like, what, 19 or 89? Yeah, I think it's 1989. Anyway, that movie, I saw it. I was visiting my relatives in Southern California by myself and had a room, and it was late at night, and the room was full of VHSs, and my aunt had just recorded it off of like HBO or something like that. She was like, you got to watch this one. So I did. It scared the crap out of me, but I loved it and had fun with it. And yeah, ever since, definitely been hooked on horror. John Connor says, did I ever meet any of the Phantasm cast as a con? Or do you mean, did I ever meet? No, I don't. Like, I've met almost nobody at cons because I don't go to cons. Like, when I go, I just go to, like, talk to friends and hang out and like look at the cool things that people make. I'd never, ever, ever wait in line to meet anyone. I mean, I think maybe the only time I've ever done that is with Leslie when I went to visit her in Florida, like last year or year before, or whatever. And we met Doug Bradley. Yeah, right. Isn't that who we met? Doug Bradley. Yeah, Pinhead. We met him and got a picture signed. But even that, it was like, I mean, it was super cool, but it was just mostly because Leslie was super excited to meet him. I've met like a lot of different celebrities and stuff, but never at cons. Like, whenever I've met a lot of musicians, especially, it's just, like a regular person. I've never been impressed by people. It's always the art, the things that people make that I get excited about. It's never the people. B Movie Theater says, do you have a CRT for the VHS collection? I don't know what that is. What is a CRT? I have a VHS player somewhere. I think it's in storage, though, because I haven't watched my VHSs in a long time. Did you ever meet any of the cast of Phantasm? What is going on? How am I? Oh, okay. You just asked it twice. Okay. What the hell is Fung Fury? Like, I know of Kung Fu Fury, but I don't know what Fung Fury is. What question from Matt Hicks? What movie have you watched the most times in the theater? It's got to be like way back when I was a teenager. Because I mean, I did go see Longlegs like a number of times last summer in a theater, but usually I go twice at most. Sometimes I'll see a movie a third time, but that's because, you know, you have a friend that hasn't seen it and you want to go with them or whatever. But I don't know. I know when I was a teenager, there was, and like The Sandlot, for instance, when that was in theaters, me and my friend went and saw that like every day, I swear, for like a month. I mean, I saw that movie so many damn times. But like, it's not like anything I really remember. Thank you so much, Leslie, for donating 10 Ghost Pirate memberships. That is awesome. You were super awesome. Thank you. John Connor says, question on the subject of Friday the 13th, the series, do you think they will have any what? Any reference? I don't know what the rest of that question is, John. I think they're going to do a great job. I think it's going to be like a lot of people are going to be pissed off and like, this isn't my Friday the 13th, you know, and then you'll have a lot of people that love it. I think I'll probably end up loving it because they're going to do something different with it. And it's not going to be like anything like a Friday the 13th stuff we've known in the past. But yeah, I think if like a lot of times if people just go into things and watch them with an open mind and try not to like, because too often we get this expectation in our head of like what we want to see, but it's like, I don't understand that logic. I think that ruins a lot of things for people. You know, if you have an expectation of what you think a movie's going to be or what you want it to be, it's never going to be that. Like it's, you know, Gaston says, question, did you get to watch the new Netflix sci-fi series, The Eternaut, based on the 57 Argentine graphic novel? No. Is that playing here in the States on Netflix? Because I don't even remember seeing that. To be honest, it's been a while since I really watched much on Netflix because it's rare that they add anything that's worth a damn. Oh, CRT is an old TV, like one of those big heavy block. I had one for quite a while, and that's where I watch my VHSs on, but I don't even have a TV at all now, like of any kind. I just watch everything on my tablet. Sometimes I'll watch it on my my computer, but yeah, like I haven't been able to watch my VHSs, like I said, for a while. I think I have a TV, like an old brick style TV in storage, maybe. I don't know. But I'm just super limited on space right now. So, I mean, because my set takes up over half of my room, and then another quarter of the room is just the stuff that ends up going on the set that I rotate into the set. And then I have my rat cage and my bed, and that's it. So, but eventually I would like that to change. And I'd like to have a full setup for physical media again. Like I love physical media. No, Dominic, I'm seeing tomorrow. I'm seeing Bloodlines tomorrow. I'm going with my friend to like the later showing. I'm really looking forward to it though. And it's cool because I never get to go see movies with people. Like it's so rare. Most of the time I see movies by myself. So it's really cool to actually be able to go hang out with my friend and see a movie together that we're both excited about. So all right, let's see, John. Sorry, bad grammar. I was going to say, do you think that the series might have any references to Mrs. Voorhees being involved in black magic to bring back Jason? See, I kind of have a feeling that is more of the direction that we're going to see it, but we'll see. I know that, we all know for a fact, especially the first season, that Mrs. Voorhees is going to be the main focus of it. And so it's going to be about, what can you, like, what full story can you make about her? And I think it's got to be something like that, right? Like her backstory, how and why, and Jason exists and all that. And then if it gets another season, then that's when we'll start to see Jason involved, which, I think that could build into a perfect setup to make a new movie. And that's why I'm hoping that A24 does their thing and doesn't try to like fit anybody's expectations for a Friday the 13th, but instead does their own thing, because that has the best chance of being unique and original. And for God's sake, why even do anything Friday the 13th if it's not going to be unique in some way? Like, there's tons of slasher movies where if you want to just see people getting killed and butchered, there's a ton of them. Wolfman, I don't think you do have to accept it. I think it's just simply basically the first 10 people that were here, she gifted 10 memberships. So it's the first 10 people that, or the people that were on the longest are who get the membership. But I'm not exactly sure. I just know that I'm gifted memberships all the time and don't even know it. And like friends of mine's channels and stuff. And I'll go over there and be like, what the fuck? I didn't know so-and-so made me like gifting me a membership. And I don't even know how to do that. Like, I think that when you have a channel, you can gift memberships, but I don't know how that works either. Yeah, John, I love the drive-ins too. Like, I was going to go last night, but I keep not feeling good. So I just been staying home editing. Plus, this video is a beast that I'm working on right now, and I'm really trying to have it done by Friday. Videodrome is amazing. Definitely one of my favorite Cronenbergs. Yeah, see, that's what I keep thinking. Yo Jimbo Akimbo, is that it's gonna kind of have a little bit of a Bates Motel vibe to it, and like that's what I'm thinking, and I think that would be cool if it's something along those lines, like not that exact format, but something similar. Yeah, Chad, I did too. I really liked the Friday the 13th reboot from 2009. I didn't understand for the longest time why more people didn't, and now it's starting to finally get some love, and you're hearing more and more people talk about how it's how it's good and whatever. But I think it's the best as far as best made movie. I'm not saying it's the most fun per se of all the Friday the 13th, but I think it's the best made one. Chris, the thing is about Damon Rugna, I think what makes him so special is the fact that he doesn't do IPs. Like the best filmmakers right now are the ones that have their own unique vision and create their own unique things. But a lot of times people in Hollywood will be like, that guy is a talented filmmaker, everybody loves his movies, we're gonna hire him to do our next IP. And sometimes it works. Like if you have like Mike Flanagan taking over the Exorcist franchise, like I think that'll really work because the type of filmmaker he is, he's shown that he can do reboots, sequels, as well as his own original stuff. But like Damon Rugna, I think is special because of the universes that he creates. John Connor says, question, do you remember seeing the Necronomicon in Jason Goes to Hell? That would be an awesome connection to Evil Dead. Yeah, that's why everybody thought that's what was going to happen. And a lot of people have said that is what they were trying to do, was connect Freddy and Jason in that way with, that was the whole idea of Jason Goes to Hell. But then it took years for them to do it, and it was a whole mess. But yeah. Because the original plan was they were going to do a Freddy versus Jason and then a Freddy versus Jason versus Ash or Evil Dead, whatever. That was the plan. And that's why, but we ended up getting it as a comic book, but it was supposed to be a movie. Yeah, like Leslie said, YouTube control or chooses the gift. Unfortunately, she doesn't control it. I think it's like I said, it's basically whoever has been on the stream the longest that isn't already a member. Question from Chad Dotson. Have you heard any new Cloverfield? Yeah, they're working on the next Cloverfield. I believe it's supposed to be next summer. I don't think we have a date yet for the release, but I know that it was in pre-production, and that they're definitely making it. Like it's a for sure they're working on a sequel to the first Cloverfield. I don't know if they're going to connect it to 10 Cloverfield Lane, or what, but it's definitely going to be connected to that first movie, which I'm excited for because I love that first movie. It's one of the best found footage movies. Thank you, Slack Wolf. Thank you so much. Man, this is slow with the questions tonight. I should have been more prepared. There just wasn't anything really interesting story-wise that I was looking earlier. They're making a documentary about Guillermo del Toro, which that's cool. I'm looking forward to checking that out. What was the other? There was another story that I thought was interesting. Oh, Osgood Perkins, his new movie that he is, I believe, just finishing, called Keeper. He signed a first look rights with Neon. I mean, they announced it today. I don't know when it actually happened, but. And then this is crazy. They're making a Turkish coffee table. Like the coffee table movie. They're making a Turkish version of it. Like that is very strange. That's a very strange movie to make a remake in another country of. Ooh, Funko's releasing new Terrifier 2 pops, Saw, Godzilla, Black Phone. But yeah, see, it's not like the best stories. Yeah, Dominic, I really, really want to go to Fantastic Fest. I don't know if it's going to happen, though. Like, I am killing myself over here, working my ass off, but, it's just really difficult right now to save any money. John Connor says, question, Kanan, being from California, have you ever hung out at the LA River? Such an iconic spot. Yeah, but it's just kind of a huge drainage ditch. Like it depends on where you're hanging out at, but like back in my music days, we would go skating in there and stuff whenever we would go down to LA, hang out with other bands and stuff. You just like jump fences, depending on where it's at. A lot of the spots there's big old holes cut out in the fence to go down in there. It's not exactly a river. A lot of times there's really not even water in it. And so that's why you can skate. But the coolest spots are what you all see in the movies and stuff. Most of it just looks like a shitty little drainage ditch. I talked about the shrouds as well in my last video. If you're a fan of Cronenberg, I think it's definitely one you got to see. But it's a sad movie. It is definitely dark and deals with, a lot of things to do with death. It's very tragic. But yeah, my video that I put out on Friday talks about it. Question from Jordan. Is it rumor that Flanagan is making a Clayface show for HBO, or is that legit happening? he's not making a Clayface show. They're making a movie Clayface, and he wrote the script for it. Like, he's not directing it. He just wrote the script for it. And that is not a rumor. That is a for sure thing. I forget who they signed on to direct it. They already got a director for it as well. But it's a movie, not a series. Question from Yo Jimbo Akimbo. What is your favorite Lovecraftian cosmic horror movie? Probably The Thing. But then I also feel like it's never fully been done like the way I feel like it could be. Underwater is up there for sure. Damn it, what's the name of that one? I just talked about it. But I did do a whole Lovecraftian video. You know, or cosmic horror, depending on what you want to call it. But I did do a whole cosmic horror list. But I think The Void is very close to the top. In the Mouth of Madness is another one that's really, really up there for me. But it just really depends on what you consider Lovecraftian, what you consider cosmic horror. But like, there just still has not been, like, how has no one made a Cthulhu movie with the ability that we have with special effects and CGI and all that now? I mean, you can make a full-on Cthulhu movie. Like, I mean, Underwater was amazing, but it was just a tiny little part of that movie. Funko's releasing 50th anniversary Jaws pops, minus Chef Brody, though, as his family don't want to allow the image rights again this time. That's odd. Probably has to do with money. Exactly, Nick. I mean, like, there's barely ever any water. Sometimes you'll have a little trickle of water in it, but it's not a river. It's just like a big drainage ditch because it's only designed for flooding. Because it's so dry down there, if you get even a decent rain, you'll get flash floods. Pretty wild. So it's really just for emergencies. That's why people drive cars in it and skateboard in it and things like that. Christoph Leggett says, have you seen a movie called Cryptic? No, but I don't know. Maybe it was you that commented. Someone commented, I feel like today or yesterday, asking if I'd seen that. And I can't even remember what that movie is. So I need to look into that. Question. The Green Room is considered an MPAA as a horror and tend to agree. Thoughts? I think it's a horror. I think it's I would classify it as a horror thriller. You know, it's definitely, because to me, it's like half and half. Half of it is more thriller level, but then there is definite horror in it. But it lives in that real world horror space. And a lot of people don't think of that as horror, but it's fucking horror. You know, horror doesn't have to be fantasy. Horror doesn't have to be monsters. Like, horror is just this huge, you know, umbrella of things that live under there. And that's why there's so many different subgenres to horror. But I get so frustrated trying to argue with people about what is horror and stuff. Like, it drives me crazy because there's so many damn gatekeepers out there trying to say that, you know, this is horror and that's horror. And yeah, Color Out of Space as well is way up there. But I mean, that's what's sad. Like, when I made my top 10 list, it's like they're all great, but I was just like, this is about it. There's not a lot of others besides this 10. That's about it. That's the 10. Because there's a lot of ones that are like, Dagon's fun, but I wouldn't, like, I don't know. I like Dagon, but mostly but it's got a lot of a campy, quality in it. And a lot of the Lovecraftian stuff is old and feels outdated and just doesn't feel like on the level of a movie that it could be. Saya says, question, Kanan, what's a movie you would like to see remade or a sequel to? Someone asked me that recently as well. I think it was last podcast. That's a tough one. Or maybe it's the last live stream. Fucking Dagon. Dagon would be hella cool to remake, but really any Lovecraft, like since we're thinking and talking about Lovecraft, any Lovecraft story, all of them, any one of them could be remade and you could make something fucking amazing. It is just, I don't get it. I think a lot of people are intimidated by making a Lovecraftian script because it's so complex. There's anytime you're dealing with, Event Horizon is definitely way up there on the Lovecraftian cosmic horror level. But anytime you're dealing with something like that, how do you represent the unknowable? The thing that you cannot, as a human, get your head around. Like, that's terrifying. Like, if you ever look into the real science of what they actually think a black hole is and how the fundamentals, the mathematics, and all of that work with a black hole, it is terrifying in the most mind-boggling way, where it's like your mind just wraps around it enough to realize just how terrifying and weird it is and how little we know. And the best cosmic horror is the one that touches on that unknowable thing. And so I think that intimidates a lot of writers, filmmakers, because it's like, if you get that right, you can make one of the greatest, psychological horror movies ever. But if you get it wrong, it's just dumb. But I really hope there's someone out there writing a great script for that. Yeah, I saw Clown Cornfield last week. I'm probably going to talk about it in my next recommendation, where I do my highly recommended one, because it'll be dropping on Shudder, I think next month or whatever. It's really fun, and it's one that I think is definitely worth going to see. But it is not going to be like in my top 10 of the year. It's more of that popcorn horror movie that's kind of better than it should be, better than I expected. But at the same time, it's still not like a game changer. It's not anything we haven't really seen before. And so, like, if you're going to go see a movie right now, I mean, you got to go see Sinners first, and there's a couple horror movies like that to me that are above Clown in a Cornfield. But if you're looking just to have a good time, Clown in a Cornfield is a lot of fun. It's cool though, because it's more than a slasher. Like, that's what you think it's going to be, and it definitely has that in it. It's also less of a comedy than I thought it would be. Like, it definitely has funny elements, but let's see. What would favor more, When Evil Lurks or The Substance? Dominic, do you mean which one do I prefer? Which movie do I think is better? That's super difficult because they're totally different styles of movies and with different messages, and everything about them are totally different. And they're both masterpieces, in my opinion, at what they're doing. My own personal taste, it's funny, the one I would rewatch more is The Substance. I've seen it like 3 or 4 times. Whereas When Evil Lurks, I've only seen twice, I think. But it's more of the movie that makes me excited to think about. I just love the darkness, the weirdness, all the stuff that's in When Evil Lurks. But I would never, ever say that I think it's a better movie than The Substance. I'm not one of those people that can do that. Like, I don't know, if you have a movie that is perfect at what it's trying to do, how can you say it's like, this is the perfect apple, this is the perfect orange, which one's better? Well, that one's an apple and it's perfect. That one's an orange and it's perfect. I can't tell you which one is better. I can tell you I prefer apples over oranges, but in no way am I saying that an apple is a better piece of fruit than an orange, just that I personally like apples more than oranges. And that's how I see it with art. Like all art. And that's why I wouldn't do art competitions, which kind of hurt my art career. because you can get in a lot of doors with competitions, but I would never do them. I've never once done an art competition. I don't think you can judge art like that. You can judge it based on what it's trying to do. Like you can say, this is meant to be realism. It's supposed to look like a photograph of someone, right? And you can say how good it did at doing that. But like, you can't take an image that's like, looking like a photograph, like a realism, and put it up against abstract art and say which one's better. Like, really? They're totally different things. They're trying to accomplish totally different things. Ooh, KK Funhouse would be a fun one. Fun one. That is a good one to remake. I think that would be great. Stuart Gordon's From Beyond is amazing. Like, I love that movie. And that's also one that I think could be a great remake. Like I said, any Lovecraftian movies, any one of them. I mean, The Mountain of Madness is the one that they should be making a movie of, and Guillermo del Toro worked on it for years, supposedly trying to make it, and it just never works out. But John Connor says, question, do any of you think it would be an awesome idea for a horror series set at Miskatonic University? Hell yeah. Imagine all the different weird things. You could have like the monster of the week, so to speak, the weird thing of the week. You could do, all of a sudden got hiccups. You could do a similar thing to like one of my favorite shows ever, Fringe. Like when Fringe was at its best was like the first 2 seasons, maybe 3 seasons, but before they started the whole universe, the whole multiverse war and all that, and then it got like not as good. But when they were doing like the weird thing of the week, like X-Files, like, dude, Fringe was the best. And Miskatonic, yeah, I think you could do something sick. The problem is you get someone trying to do a teenager CW bullshit with it. But if you did it, you need to take it serious. Like I said, make it like Fringe. Someday, I'll have enough clout. Probably never have enough money, but hopefully I'll have enough clout, like enough ears. People listen to things I say or whatever, and I'll be able to get someone to make some cool Lovecraftian movies. Question, is there anybody that you would want to see do horror that hasn't done horror yet? I don't think so, because to me, all the best filmmakers in the world either are doing horror almost exclusively or have at least at some point done horror. So like, I can't think of any filmmakers that are worth a damn that haven't already done horror. Because most artists, filmmakers realize that the coolest shit, the best sandbox to play in for making movies is the horror genre. Jordan says, question, a lot of Lovecraft's work got made into really bad B movies. Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. That's why I'm saying any one of his could be made again. And as long as the talent and the money and resources and everything were put into it, you could have an incredible movie. Is there a rights issue? Did the family sell it to? I don't believe any of, it's like too long now, so I think it's public domain, which is why you get a lot of B-rated stuff, because B-rated stuff is generally stuff that it's sources that you don't have to pay anybody. And that's, B-rated movies are basically low budget movies. And so I believe most Lovecraftian stuff is public domain. So anybody can take it and write a script from it, and make a movie, I believe. Because it's basically 100 years, I believe. Any story goes into the public domain after 100 years. Christoph says, question, what movie would you like to see remade? I'd love to see Enemy Mine remade or Last Starfighter. Okay, I just answered that, really. I mean, I'm just leaving it open. Any Lovecraftian thing, any Lovecraftian B-rated movie, any one of them. Damn it, Stephanie. Nobody should be remaking the Birds. You said this in the last stream. I remember, because no one should remake the Birds. I don't see anything different or unique that you would do with it that would merit a remake. And like, I don't remember last time you saying any idea that would give it a unique spin that would make it worth remaking. And I'm saying damn it in a loving way, not like actually mad at you. I'm like laughing. Question: may you give a shout out to my nephew Angel really quick? I'm trying to get him into horror, and I can't think of a better person to tell him horror can be fun. Angel, remember, like always, horror can be fun. What's up, Angel, nephew of Evil Klaus Me or Evil Close Me, something like that. Anyway, Angel, I hope you're doing well, and you should definitely check out some horror movies. Yeah, Walter was incredible. Like, what a great character. I just loved Fringe. Like, the romance between the two, like, just it was so well written and just fun. Loved that show. Yeah, no, I don't think I have any interest in seeing Greta Gerwig, not Grunberg. Greta Gerwig do a horror movie. Question, plus she's making Barbie fucking movies, Question, wouldn't you like some more Dean Koontz? Hell yeah. It's another thing I don't understand why they constantly are making Stephen King, right? And most of Stephen King stuff has not been that great. But the few Koontz ones we've got have actually been pretty fucking sick. Like I love why can't I say it? Phantoms. Ugh. Yeah, like I love Phantoms. I don't get it at all. Dominic says also I wasn't asking which one you thought was better, simply asking which one you liked more, but answered by saying you rewatch The Substance more. We all have our preferences. Yeah, yet I like When Evil Lurks more as a concept and as a movie, even though I think The Substance is more rewatchable. When Evil Lurks is so fucking dark and so like brutal, it's not a fun movie. Whereas like The Substance is fun. It deals with some serious shit, but it's super fun at the same time. No remakes. A long-awaited sequel of The Last Starfighter must happen. There will always be remakes and sequels, but it don't matter. We have a lot of originals. So Wolfbane says, I have a crazy friend who says people whose favorite genre is horror are weirdos. Are we weirdos or is he crazy? I would say we're weirdos, but so is everybody else, man. Like, who the fuck's normal? Like, what is normal? Like, that's such a subjective concept. It's like perfection. I don't think it exists. Like, who's to say what is norm? What is the norm? Because depending on what time in history you're looking at, what people thought of as the norm, has changed dramatically. Like if you were in 1950 and saw me, you'd think I was the weirdest fucking thing on planet Earth. You'd probably think I was an alien, but now I can think of a lot of people that look more weird, more unique, more whatever than me. Like norm doesn't exist. It just, the concept is just dumb. And I think horror fans are the most creative. I don't think that they're the weirdest because I just don't believe in the whole normal bullshit. I think it's not normal to not enjoy creative stuff and unique things. Like that's not normal to be boring and, Caveat's amazing, man. I just talked about it in the video I dropped like 3 days ago. Like, I'm surprised that you haven't watched that video, because like I thought every single subscriber I had watched that video. It's got over 50,000 views in like 3 days. It's like my best video in a long time. But yeah, Caveat's amazing, and it just dropped on Tubi. Like, it had been on Shudder forever, and I've been yelling at people forever to watch it. But now that it's on Tubi, finally more people are going to watch it. But I love it. It's the first movie by Damian McCarthy, who did Oddity, and I love Oddity, but I think Caveat is just as good, and it's just a different movie, but it's cool. They're both in the same universe. John Connor says, if they remade Dean Koon's Watcher and actually follow the book more closely, what actor do you think would be do a good job at playing the main character, Travis? I don't know, because I haven't read that book. Like, all I can think of is the movie that was made, which I don't remember that very well. I remember not being crazy about the movie, but I've never read that book, so I don't know. I can't read. Like, I really struggle with reading. Like, it's not that I can't read, but anything more than a paragraph or a sentence, my brain dumps it, and I forget exactly what I just read. Like, that's why, luckily you guys keep it fairly short, but anytime anybody leaves long comments and stuff, I lose completely, like about halfway down, I lose completely what they were talking about. It's very, very difficult. It's a form of dyslexia. I eat too much processed foods to be normal. That is normal, man. Like, it's not normal, because if you say normal is just what the majority of people do, that's what normal is, right? Well, the majority of people eat junk food and lots of stuff, like, especially if you're in the United States. So the non-normal thing at this point is to eat healthy and all that. Christoph, when evil lurks, the dark and the wicked, speak no evil, and Terrified are just pure horror. No fun in them at all, just brutal. Yep. And those are like probably would be in my top 10. Yeah, I think all those would be in my top 10 from the last 20 years, like the best horror movies. I would have to really look at it, but without a doubt, When Evil Lurks would be in it, and Terrified would be in it. I think Speak No Evil, yeah, and The Dark and the Wicked. I'm pretty sure those would be in my top 10. Like, all four of those are amazing. I don't think, though, that, like, there's lots of different kinds of horror, so it's not like those are pure horror. I know what you were saying, and I agree with what you're saying. I'm just saying, like, I don't want to say that the kid is like, to me, The Substance would also be in my top 10, and it's a totally different tonal kind of movie. Am I an alien? Not that I know of. But, like, you know, if you're an alien and you were brought here from another planet or whatever, and maybe the aliens programmed me to not remember being from all I know is the memories I do have from my life, especially growing up, really fucking suck. So if those were programmed into me, whoever programmed that shit is a demented asshole. Yep. Yep. We're the weirdos, mister. Yeah, I just don't buy into that nowadays. Like, especially when there's so many fans of horror movies. I mean, look how much money Sinners is making right now. Like, are you kidding me? Look at how much money it 17 or whatever. Look how much money that fucking movie made. Like, most everybody are fans of, like, not everybody, but a lot of people are fans, at least on the surface level, of horror. You know, yes, there's a lot less of us that are really into it and really know, like, deep the roots of it, but still. Christoph, it's the mood thing, man. It's an atmospheric mood thing. That's what, and like, I get it if you didn't like Caveat, like quite a few people didn't, but it's all about the atmosphere and the mood and the uniqueness of that. It's also what, to me, made Oddity really good. There's just Damian McCarthy has this weird way of making movies look, and his atmosphere that he creates is got a really unique strangeness about it. What's up, Irish Tina Stanley? Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy the video and enjoy the movie. Caveat. You need to get me a megaphone so I can do some yelling. Man, I used to yell a lot when I was in a band. I'm too loud as it is. Like I get accused all the time. People being like, "Why are you yelling on your videos?" And I'm like, "Man, this is just how I talk." Like if I yell, you would know. Like the microphone can't handle me yelling. I would have to get a cardioid or no, hold on. I'd have to get the other type of microphone like they use for vocals when you're in a band, because this microphone could not handle that. It's made more for a deeper podcast tone. Crystal asked, what made you start a movie review channel specifically for horror? It started, and I didn't do it full time, and it was, it was kind of something to do, but I started it in 2020. This month actually, or this month, like into this month or early next month, I can't remember. It was when I posted my first video, but it wasn't at all to be a review channel. It wasn't to be definitely not thinking I was going to make money with it or anything like that. It was just, we were all locked down in quarantine, and I discovered Tubi, and I'd heard some people talking about Tubi, but in 2020, a lot less people knew of and were watching Tubi, not like it is now. And I went on there and I was like, holy shit, there's like so many good horror movies on here. And so I just decided I'd make a video and I could share it with my friends and just post it. I didn't know if anybody would watch it. I think like maybe 20 or 30 people watched that video, but it was just my way of trying to help with the whole boredom. Like I knew everybody was staying home bored and looking for things to watch. And a lot of my friends are into horror movies, and it just kind of went from there. And little by little, I noticed that I was scratching an itch, that there was a number of people that liked, and I wanted to share that because I've loved horror movies since I was a teenager. And then as I got more and more into it, I started watching more and more. And especially during lockdown, it was like all I did. I had a lot of medical problems that year. And then I was, of course, locked at home like everybody else. So all I had to do that year was watch horror movies and then make these little shitty videos telling people about some of the new ones that I had discovered or older ones that I knew about. And, and then I started realizing that I thought it would be really cool if there was something out there, like almost like a TV guide, but specifically for the horror audience, because almost all my friends in my whole life are into horror movies. Like it's just, we're all into metal, like most of them anyway, into metal music, have played in bands, and horror movies. They go hand in hand with, and like, it's how I've met musicians in the last couple of years too. It's like horror, metal musicians, hard rock musicians, they just love horror movies. Yeah. And so it was just like, I realized that there was a way I could help people, and also something that I would enjoy. And then the more I did it, the more I realized, like, if I worked hard enough at it, there was a potential to actually make it into a job. And so then when I was managing the movie theater, it was like my side gig. And then when stuff went down with that theater, and I decided to do this full time. So it's been like almost 2 years now since I've been doing this full time. So hopefully that answered it. Chad Dodson asked, do you like the 2 Dead Snowflakes? I loved the first one. I don't think I've ever even watched the second one. I might have it's weird. I feel like I watched it like maybe back when it first came out, and then I've just kind of forgotten it. But I remember the first one a lot, like a very, pretty clearly, and I love that movie. I think it's such a fun, unique in a way, like unique as in set location and different things they do with it being in the snow and stuff. Because at this point, it's hard to do an actually totally unique zombie movie because, we've done like everything with it, but adding the snow element and the different creative things they do, like with the frozen lake and stuff, it's just sick. Trying to look for some questions in here. I'm gonna probably have to call this stream pretty soon because I'm very hungry. Yeah, Vorpal, quarantine, man. Lockdown. Are you not from the United States, Vorpal? Because everybody I know, you say lockdown, they immediately know, like quarantine. You weren't restricted your home. Where do you live, Vorpal? Like where I live, not only were we in lockdown, like quarantine, they eventually put a curfew because we had so many crazy riots and crazy stuff, especially downtown. And so we had the National Guard out here, machine guns and stuff. It was fucking weird. So I was doing to survive, like be able to make money, because that's what's messed up, right? They put everybody on lockdown, but then it took me like almost 2 months to get any money from the government. So I'm like, how am I going to eat? Like, how am I going to survive? So I did DoorDash for like about the first 6 months, but then I got really, really, really sick. And then luckily the government checks started coming in some too. But I was teaching art at schools. So it was like, I all of a sudden was making no money at all. Chris Oriole says, would you make a movie, K, even if it takes years? I feel like I would produce a movie. I don't think I'll ever be the guy that, like, I'm definitely not going to write a script, maybe work with someone, a writer, because I have had different ideas. I have this one idea that I had this dream a while back that eventually it would be cool to sit down with someone that's a writer, but like, I am not a writer. I don't write shit. And then directing, I do think I have the vision for that, but I don't have the know-how on that. So I feel like I would serve much better as a producer, and then be involved in the day-to-day, be involved in finding the right pieces and putting those in place, because that's kind of what I do with this channel. I don't make the movies I talk about. I don't make the music I use, but I've always been, it's like the art even that I make, the visual medium art that I make. I take magazines and all these different pictures and I cut them apart and I put them together in unique ways and make these, weird images and stuff with it. And so I feel like with a movie, it would be the same way. So like, that's what I would like someday, is to be in a situation where, like I said, if I had enough ears, enough people I could work with and put the right people together to make movies that I envision, Vorpal, Indiana corn country. We have like a population of 1,000. Everybody knows your business. Yeah, I know a number of people that live in small towns like that. And like, the good thing during quarantine is they didn't have to deal with that shit. But then, you also had to deal with each other. It's like everybody up in your business. Trust me, bro. It's Bryce says, question: why haven't you been too interested in watching Dead Snow 2? The reason I went out of my way to watch it was because I love the first movie. I just don't watch a lot of sequels very often because I don't cover a lot of sequels. I don't know. I'm much more interested in new ideas and unique movies. And so, like, unless it's a big one that I see in theaters or something, I generally don't gravitate towards sequels very often. And then, like I said, I feel like I probably did see Dead Snow at some point. I just can't remember it. But there's just, I have to go on these spans of time where I can't really watch almost anything unless it's in a theater. Like I'll always watch like, a couple movies a week, but then I go into these time periods where I'll binge a bunch of movies and I'll watch like, there was a time when I was watching like 20 movies or more a week. But yeah, I'm at a pace now where I have to be a lot more picky with the movies that I watch. And so if it's a sequel and I am not going to talk about, because it really comes down to this. If I'm not going to talk about it on the channel, if there's not a good chance that I'm going to talk about it on the channel, I'm probably not going to watch it. I just don't have the time to watch a movie that I'm not going to end up covering in some way or another. Unless it's just purely entertainment and then it's not horror. Like if it, and then I don't know, man. Like this is all I do. Like I watch horror movies. I make videos about them. I'm like, that's what takes up 99% of my daily life. But I'm always trying to find things that you guys are going to enjoy. But yeah, I mean, I have a list that's like a mile long of movies. And so Dead Snow 2 is probably a couple thousand movies deep on that list. Easy E says, question, were you a little disappointed in the amount of horror in Sinners? No, not at all. Not even close. Because I don't go into movies wanting them to be what they're not. I go into a movie and just watch it and enjoy it for what it is. And Sinners was super deep. And there is so many layers, so much that is talking about. There's so much horror that's under the surface that a lot of people kind of just brush by. It has a ton to say, and it's just a great movie. It's a horror movie, yeah, definitely, but it's just a great movie. So, no, because I don't expect it or want it to be something else. It's like if I wanted it to have more horror, well, then it would be a different movie, and I could probably tell you a dozen other vampire movies that would scratch that itch. So, like, I don't want it to be what it's not. I enjoy it for what it is. And Sinners is an amazing movie, period. That's why I'm always preaching at everybody is like, get rid of the expectations. Stop trying to make movies be a certain thing and instead let them be what they are and enjoy them for what they are, not for, don't fault them for what they're not. It's like, if it's a good movie, it's a good movie. And the only times I have expectations and I am disappointed is a lot of times if it's a sequel type of thing, because it'll be a movie like, for instance, Jurassic World Dominion. They promised in the Jurassic World before that this would be the Jurassic Park that dinosaurs would rule the planet. They would be all over the world, right? Then in Dominion, right away, we end up back on an island with some stupid fucking bugs, some dumbass stuff with that. It didn't give us at all that world covered in dinosaurs like they made it look like in the trailers and all of that. And so me and everybody else were disappointed because it was like, that's not the movie that we were advertised. That's not the movie that we were promised. You guys did something totally different and it was stupid. But anytime it's an original thing, I just don't think you should go in with expectations. Like, you just got to go in it and watch it and, watch it for what it is. It may not resonate with you. Like, I don't enjoy everything on the same level. Like, some movies I'm blown away by, others I am not, but it's not because I expected it or wanted it to be something different. But that's why trailers hurt more than they help. Like, the best suggestion I can give any of you guys, the best advice is stop watching trailers, Like, do what I do. I watch that first teaser trailer And then that gives me enough of an idea of what a movie is and if it's going to be something that I'm going to want to see. And that's it. I don't watch any of the other trailers because, like the Together trailer, I refuse to watch that because they're already spoiling shit. And it's like that first trailer gave me plenty. I didn't need anything else. But then what do? As we get closer and closer to Together coming out, they're showing more and more shit. And the only reason I know that is because people that are friends of mine are warning me, like, dude, do not watch that new trailer. They're showing body horror stuff. They're showing the premise of the movie and you're spoiling stuff, you know. It's like the Ugly Stepsisters. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't even see the trailer. And I think I enjoyed it and was much more impressed by it because I didn't see a trailer and because I didn't have any expectations going in. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Toxic Avenger 2, Chad, especially because the trailer is fun for that. They don't give away shit. It's just weird and fun, and like that's what I want to see in a trailer. But what's cool is they're going with a not rated again, just like Terrifier 3, and it's being put out by the same distributors that put out Terrifier 3. So I've heard it's got tons of every gross type of thing you can think of in it. And I am so excited to see the craziness of that movie. They've been trying for almost 3 years to get distribution for that movie. Question from Yojimbo Akimbo. What movie disappointed you the most? That's just so easy. And that is Jeepers Creepers Reborn. Because they brought absolutely nothing new. They did a horrible shit job with everything they did. They were literally just making a movie to take advantage of people and make a quick buck. And it was disgusting. It's a fucking absolutely awful movie where nobody's trying. They didn't even come close to trying to make the best, to even make a movie, really. So yeah, that movie was just god awful garbage. And it's a franchise I love and have always felt like there is so much left on the bone of what you could do with the Jeepers Creepers universe. And I was also excited because the shitty piece of crap guy who made the original wasn't involved in it and wasn't going to make money from it. So I'm like, great. I can finally watch a Jeepers Creepers movie without having to think about that, you know, POS child, you know, guy. And yeah. KK says, did you ever get to see Snow White, A Tale of Terror? Sam Neill and Sigourney Weaver in it. No. What? How is Sam Neill and Sigourney Weaver in that? Question, do you have a least favorite horror creature? I don't think so, because like I'm an optimist. Like you guys know that if you watch this channel, I don't focus on the things I don't like. And I also try to understand everything and at least appreciate on some level what was, you know, what the artist and the people behind that were trying to do with it. You know, I mean, I get disappointed by like the Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey movies that those guys keep making. I get disappointed in those because they just keep missing the mark because they're just like they're no fun, there's no enjoyment, there's no entertainment in them. They're just these dark for no reason kind of movies that take themselves way too serious. But at the same time, I still try my best to enjoy what I can from those movies. So like if you watch my review of those movies, I talk about the positive things that I saw in those movies, because like what's the point in focusing on the negative? Like you're not changing anything. You're not hurting anybody but yourself. So that's why just a long time ago, I decided like, I'm not going to focus on the negative. I'm just going to try to put my energies into the things that I enjoy and that are good. Question. Do you find that horror has lost that feeling of fear and excitement it used to give you as much as when you first started watching horror movies back when Ulster? Of course. I mean, you get desensitized, but that's why I say it's so important to, because like, okay, as an example, when I first started really getting into horror movies, as like, you know, in the last like 10 years, and especially the last 5 since I started on some level doing this channel, I struggled with slow burns. Like, they just weren't my thing. But I learned something years and years and years ago in the art world. And it was someone explained to me how to appreciate a Rothko painting. And if you're not familiar with Rothko, he's an artist who literally just paints these colored, almost like windows. And here, let me see if I can. Hold on. Let me see if I can show you these. All right. So these are Rothko paintings. Let me click on one so you can see it more close up. So that's a Rothko. How do I zoom in on it? Anyway, whatever. You guys see it. So that's a Rothko painting. Those are his paintings. And I, for the longest time, couldn't understand why people were so blown away by these. I'm like, dude, they're just like 2 or 3 colors, just big squares. Like, anybody could paint that, right? And then someone taught me. They told me, go to the MoMA, which is the nearest art museum near me that has a Rothko. And all of Rothko's paintings are set up in a way where there is a bench that is exactly the distance from it that he specified. Whenever you show one of his paintings, he specifies that you have a bench that's set this distance from it. And so you sit down on this bench, and a lot of his are really big, especially the one in San Francisco that I saw. And I just looked into this painting, and all of a sudden I had this almost like spiritual feeling, like, and it was just like this doorway opened and this painting engulfed me, and I got this flood of emotion, and I started to think about all these different things. And I realized that a Rothko painting, when it's viewed correctly, is like a mirror. And you look into yourself, and you look into the void, you look into the thoughts and all the, it's like, I don't know, it's a really hard experience to explain until you experience it. But the thing I learned was, it wasn't that a Rothko painting, it wasn't that anybody could literally paint that. They could put that paint onto a canvas and make that painting. That's not what made his paintings great. What made his paintings great was the intention, the idea, the concept, all of that in the first place. That's what made it a great painting. It's like I talked about with the comedy, you know, the banana taped to a wall. I've talked about that at length on streams before. It's the same thing with that. It's the concept. It's not the banana. The banana isn't the art, because you literally have to replace the banana and the tape. You know, when you buy that painting or that piece of art, you're not given the banana, you're not given the tape, you're literally given a card that says you own a print, a copy or whatever of this piece, and you get instructions on exactly how to put it together. And it's the concepts and the messaging behind it, the cycle of life that you see in the banana that decays, like every couple days you have to replace it. It's those things that make it interesting. And when you start to understand art, eventually you learn to appreciate it. And this is what back to what I was trying to say is, or example I was talking about is, for me, it was slow burn horror. I couldn't get into it. I couldn't figure out what everybody loved about it. And then I realized that first I would learn to appreciate it. That you slow your mind down. You have to be in for the ride, in for the experience. You have to be all in on that and slow your brain and put your brain in the right setting for that. and feel that movie and feel those movies, feel the intention, the emotion, the dread, all the different complex layers that are in those movies when they're done right. And eventually you learn to appreciate it. Then eventually you learn to like it. Then you learn to enjoy it, and eventually you love it. And I'm at a point where I'm like that with almost every genre, or actually I think I am with every genre of horror. It's like it's the same journey. And when you treat it as serious as I do, and you study it like I do, you either cannot be an expert and not fully be able to explain why these are great genres of horror, and really not have a full spectrum concept of what horror is, or you learn to like it, enjoy it, appreciate it, love it, all those things. And so that's the road I went down. And so that's what I'm trying to explain. So you start out being, drawn into horror because it scares you. It makes you excited to get that adrenaline rush and all that. But eventually, if you watch it enough, it's gone. So you either have to find that drug elsewhere, or you learn to find new things to appreciate about it. And that's why you don't hear me talk about this movie scared me. I just don't hardly ever, because nothing at all scares me anymore. But to me, that's the most superficial layer of horror movies, is scare. Like, the best horror movies don't even have that level. They don't even bother with something that scares you. They're much more deep and complex beyond that. And they deal with dread. They deal with tension. They deal with anxiety. They deal with the vastness of space and our own understanding and our own frailness as humans. They deal with all these really complex things, but you got to be patient. You got to stick around. You got to be enough of an adult to sift through those layers and understand those layers, and to get the full appreciation of that form of art. But if all you're looking for is just something to scare you, it's like smoking cigarettes, man. You're always chasing the dragon. When you smoke cigarettes for a little while, you get this great head rush, but eventually you don't get that at all anymore. And I remember smoking for 20 years, and it had been, 19 years or whatever since I had that head rush. And yet I still kept smoking, wanting a little bit of that, that head rush. And sometimes you get a little tiny bit of it in the morning, and it's like, they call it chasing the dragon when it's with drugs. But it's the same with horror. It's about why you're in it, why you watch it, why you enjoy it. Snow White was not that bad. It's not good. But PJR, people acted like it was the worst fucking movie ever made, and it really wasn't. It just wasn't. It's not a great movie at all, but it's really not a fucking shit movie. Like people overreact. People are so hyperbolic about shit. It's like if people are it's like a snowball. You get people agreeing with each other, and then next thing you know, you're caught up in that, and sometimes it's like the whole IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes garbage, where they'll say that so-and-so movie, because it's got a 99%, it's like the best fucking movie ever, right? And I don't know. You got to get rid of expectations and actually watch a movie for what it is. Chad Dodson says, question, any news on the new Collector? No. I know that the last I heard that it's back in, they're working on it again. Not like they're actually shooting it yet, or any of that, but they are working on it again. So hopefully it goes in the right direction. Jordan asks, who's the best final girl of all time? I think everybody has their own favorite final girl, because a lot of times it has to do with how old you are. You know what I mean? It's like, I guarantee you're going to have a lot of people, younger people, who look at Sienna Shaw in the Terrifier movies, and that'll be their favorite final girl. For me, because of my age group, I think it's Sydney. Like that, she's, but at the same time, like, I love Halloween. I mean, I don't know. There's so many great Final Girls, but like I said, it has a lot to do with just like, your age and a lot of times who you had the most of a crush on. Because Sally Harnesty is amazing in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Shannon Davis says, question, we see your collectibles behind you, but what's your favorite? That's really hard because a lot of these now, almost all of them are stuff that you guys have sent me. I mean, my favorite right now is probably, and I don't know, it's probably still this, because this is one of the only things that is actually mine. Like it is, or they're all mine, but I mean, like, it wasn't sent in by one of you guys. My ex-wife bought it for me, I think on my birthday, like 20 years ago, or more than that. It's the Cuda from Phantasm. I used to have the box. I still have it, but it's all shredded up there. But probably that, just because it's been with me. It's one of the only collectibles I have that I've had since I was like, late teens, early 20s. I don't remember exactly when I got it, but definitely over 20 years ago. John says, question, do some of these paintings remind you of some of the slides used during the psychic test scene in Longlegs? Yeah, I think that's intentional, because they're kind of like, what is it called? Therapists use those different cards, like the ink blots and stuff. There's different things like that, and the Rothko paintings are the idea behind them is they hit on some of those same subconscious nerves, and it's why they have the effect that they do. But they only have that effect when you're in front of one in person and the quietness of the gallery, and you're just engulfed by it. It's like a very hard thing to convey to someone that hasn't experienced it. It doesn't even make sense until it happens to you. Sorry, I wish I had time to read all these to know what all you guys are talking about. But yeah, the Phantasm Cuda. Yeah, it's so sad that they literally destroyed, what was it, like 3 of them, I think, in the making of that movie. Oh yeah, John, she's a great Final Girl. Yeah, very, very cool and underrated. Oh hell yeah, Ripley is definitely up in there in the Final Girl thing. Like, it's just, I have never been good at trying to pick out like favorites and best. I just struggle with that, because I enjoy things for different reasons. It's like Laurie Strode is amazing for what she is, but so is fucking Ripley, dude. But it's hard to compare them because they're very different personalities and different types of movies, even though they're both horror slasherish type of movies. I mean, because the Alien, the first one, basically is a slasher. They still feel different. Laurie Strode is more of like a wounded, defenseless animal, but Ripley is more of like, she feels like a full-on adult, and she eventually reaches a point where she's like coming at the alien, like, you know what I mean? Especially by the second one, by Aliens, she's full-on attacking the alien and isn't just trying to get away anymore. Fuck yeah. Sharni Vincent, it's Vincent, I think, from You're Next. I have always wished that she would have done more horror. Like, she was incredible in that movie. It's just amazing to me how underrated that movie still is. So, all right, I am going to call it there. I am starving. Okay, one last question from Christoph. What's your take on French horror? I love French horror. Some of my favorite movies are French horror. Like, of any of the foreign horror, I think French is probably the one that I don't even know why exactly, but it's the one that I always gravitate towards the most. And part of it is we get those a lot of times here in the United States, like in our theaters. Whereas we don't get a lot of other, like, it's got to be a really big success for it to ever make it to the theaters here if it's from another country. But French horror, for whatever reason, some of them do make it here. Like I saw Titane in a theater here. I saw Raw, which I forget her name, but the woman that made those movies is actually working on a new one. So I'm excited to see that. But yeah, Martyrs is one of the greatest horror movies ever made. Like, it's so impactful. But then you got Them, or Ills, whatever its actual name is, which I've never quite understood. But yeah, Them is amazing. Like, there's so many. Inside. But there's like a very distinct feel to French horror too that I tend to really like. It's not that I like all the extreme, because some of them aren't as like the whole extreme movie was great, and like some of those are awesome, but I kind of prefer the way it is now, where it's not all just super extreme. I mean, because like one of the best fucking spider movies we've had in many, many years was Infested from last year. That was so much fun. Another one from last year, it's French. It's like one of my favorite movies from last year. Damn it, the fucking zombie one. The whole movie's one take. Damn it. Why am I spacing on the name of that movie? Hold on. It was literally one of my favorite movies last year. I know you guys are saying in the comment. Mads is amazing. It's fucking so good. And the fact that I didn't even believe it was real until I researched it, but like they legitimately did that whole entire movie is a one take. Like there really is no cuts in that fucking movie. They did it 3 times and then went with the best take. Like that's insane. But all right, I'm going to go get some food and get some more work done on this video. So hopefully you guys will have it for Friday. I got a lot more. I'm like probably 13 or 14 hours worth of editing left on it. So we'll see if I can get that done between now and Friday morning. It might end up having to come out later in the day on Friday, but we'll see. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for checking out the podcast. DJ will be back next week and same time Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time, 4 p.m. Pacific time. This has been the Death Rattle Podcast. Thank you so much, guys.